As we track a news story with our Eric Perry. And Eric, you've been following a really incredible talking to a victim of domestic violence. And for so many of you who are streaming, you know this is an issue who affects so many in our community. And I feel like the more stories we tell like this, hopefully the more we can do to raise awareness and prevent it. But just incredible what you were able to learn from talking to her.
Yeah, Ariel, this is one of those stories to where I was looking forward to talking with her, but it's such a heartbreaking story,
Yeah.
right? So domestic violence, an incident that happened back on August 30th. This was in Coweta County on Wedgwood Circle. They got the call there for some sort of domestic incident that was taking place. And then when they got there, they found a man who now been identified as 42-year-old Justin Perez Smith outside with the victim, Iona Smith. They're married. Then he went back inside with them and fired several shots. So she was shot 5 different times there. This is the picture of her provided by the family and GoFundMe. This is some scene video here. And officers or deputies there on the scene ended up firing shots. They did not end up hitting this 42-year-old who now faces a laundry list of charges. She was airlifted here to a Metro Atlanta hospital from Coweta County. And earlier yesterday, she talked with me via Zoom from her hospital bed, wanting to share her story. It's a miracle she's still alive, and she's able to tell her story in her own words. Take a listen to some of that interview.
He hit me 5 times. He shot me 5 times. My chest, my stomach, my back, and my vagina. Because I think the gun was a Glock 19, and I see one of the bullet holes, and one of the bullets is still in me. So yes, it's definitely a miracle. God was definitely working that day for me. I would say get out of that situation. I want to start a group of domestic violence group, because a lot of times in my situation, I was embarrassed to tell what I was going through.
So she's talking from her hospital bed there. One of her sons we talked with was right there next to her, another one as well. She has 7 children, 5 boys. One of the sons describing, I asked yesterday during this interview, what was it like getting that call that your mom has been shot? So he said he was able to get there on the scene, but he saw that yellow tape. They wouldn't let him through. She had already been taken to the hospital and airlifted there. But really just miraculous that she's able to tell her story. We know some of the details are graphic. Some of them are disturbing. But she wanted to tell that, and she's able to tell her story and really get it out in order to help the next man or woman involved in something like this.
Eric, listening to her, I got goosebumps just thinking about what she experienced. And it is one thing to experience that, and it is another to say, hey, not only do I have the strength to go through this, I have the strength to tell my story. Because like you said, it is about trying to help the next person who goes through this to look out for those signs and to get help before it's too late. Her son, too, the fact that you were able to speak with him and he was saying, this is his mother.
It's his mom.
And yellow police tape outside the home, the worst, you don't know what's happening, and you come upon that, I can only imagine.
Yeah, so I initially was texting thinking I was talking with one of the sons, and then she messaged me back saying it's actually her texting me from the hospital bed, and we've been texting back and forth. She sent me several pictures. We'll have that for us at 4 o'clock. But she had another son inside when all of this happened. He didn't want to speak on camera, understandably. He was taken in for questioning, but released, not having anything to do with that. He was just there with them at that time. But, one thing that they talked about is that after all of this, she has a long road ahead. She still has a bullet lodged in her chest there. Her colon is what's called resting because of trauma, so it hasn't woken up from that trauma to work again. So she has a long road ahead, and we'll put more information on how you can help that family online. But the family says they just wanted to make sure that they got the word out. She talked a bit about the shame that she felt. She didn't think she could talk to her family, talk to her friends. So when they heard about this incident, this came as a shock to them. They didn't know it was going on. So she wanted to make sure not to stay silent. Hopefully to be able to, and I told her honestly, I said, I've covered many domestic situations like this, and I'm never able to talk to the victim themselves.
Exactly.
And so she knows that she is lucky to be alive.
Eric, it's incredible. I remember, you know, in our morning editorial meeting when you realized you were speaking actually with the victim and not a family member. And also just what you touched on, it's this culture of silence that unfortunately is the issue in so many of these stories, because how are you going to shoot me, hurt me, abuse me, and then I am going to feel shame over your actions?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to want to speak up about that.
And I think that's what she wants to do. She, moving forward, when she's able to, she wants to establish, like she said, some sort of fundraiser or some sort of support group for other women out there, other men out there in this situation.
Yeah.
And again, that man has been charged with several different things. One of those charges I found interesting was hindrance of a person calling 911. So it made it seem like maybe he was wouldn't let whoever was inside call for help after that incident. And we do want to mention the deputies in Coweta County did fire a shot, did not hit the suspect in this case, so GBI was brought in just because of any officer or deputy firing their gun. He wasn't hit, but he was able to be taken into custody there. So really miraculous. That's really all I can say, because we just we aren't able to get the victim side of the story, unfortunately.
Right.
And this is something that I think and hopefully will change lives.
Eric, I think you said it so well, and I want to leave you guys with this because I've been searching for some resources while we've been talking, because as we head out, I want to make sure that if you're streaming along with us, this story has touched you and you're trying to get help, there is the Georgia Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and there is a number, 1-800-33-HAVEN. So the full number, 1-800-334-2836. And this is just a statewide hotline to help get resources. Again, Georgia Coalition Against Domestic Violence, if you're streaming along. Eric, thank you so much for your hard work on this story. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up, guys.